There are a lot of aspects to getting good at Forsaken. And one of these aspects is your knowledge. So that's why I made a list of a bunch of tips and tricks for you to learn. Now, some of these are incredibly obvious to you veteran players, while others you may have had no clue about. And on the off chance that you know every single one of these tips, awesome. That means that you've basically mastered the game, and you don't need my help, and you don't need to watch this video, and it's all useless. The first portion of this video is gonna start with the more obvious and simple tips. So if you're a veteran and think you probably know all of them, skip to this timestamp. Now let's get into the tips and tricks. When playing Builderman or Taft, make sure at the start of the game to build your turret, place down your dispenser, throw a bomb, and make a couple tripwires. Because if you get distracted by a generator, you could be causing a teammate to die in a chase that they could have easily escaped with a turret or tripwire. Keep in mind when playing Elliot, if there's more than one, you'll actually heal less. And healing a fellow Elliot won't give you rush hour. Now, this is extremely obvious, and it's literally in the Survivor's info tab. But beginners or people who just don't bother reading those might not know it. Which is a good time to mention a very important tip. Read the info tab on each survivor and killer to understand their moveset to the best of your ability. Anyways, let's move on. Try to place Builderman's turret in a very annoying area where the killer has to stop chasing a survivor to break it. And similarly to that, Builderman, always place your dispenser somewhere super out of the way and hidden. When traversing the map as a survivor, try and keep your stamina semi-high. If you don't, you could get caught lacking. So try not to sprint for too long at a time so you can keep your stamina recharged. When seeing a Veronica spray, make sure to break it. You can also use a projectile to break them if you want. Try not to leave survivalists for last man standing.
Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Try to place Taft's bombs in dark and hidden corners where the killer will run past them and not even know. And also place your tripwires in dark areas where it's hard to see them. Stunning Sixer in Blood Hunt doesn't actually stun him, but it will deactivate his abilities for a couple seconds. You can have a maximum of 3 traps down as John Doe, so make sure you get them all down. When playing Veronica, don't be useless and make sure to actually use your bumper to support your teammates. This one's like really obvious, but don't pop a med kit, a soda, a chicken, or a ghost burger when the killer is on you. Basically any consumable other than slate skin is a no-no. When cloning as 007 and 7, the best way to trick the killer is clone when he can't see you, so he doesn't see the choppy animation. Be careful and look out for John Doe's traps when you're going up against him. Be cautious and listen for the sound cue of 1x1's mass infection. Because you might not think he's aiming at you, but then he is. And it's a lot of damage if you're not cautious of this. You have way better control at the start of Noli's Void Rush, and you can take advantage of this by cutting sharp corners. When being chased by the killer and preparing to block,
Hello there.
don't turn around. Don't run backwards. Like, don't moonwalk. It makes you so slow. Why do you do this? When being chased, it's a good time to ram, slash, or punch the killer when you're being chased up a hill, because it makes them go flying sometimes. When playing Slasher and low on stamina, use Raging Pace to start recharging it. This will help you charge stamina while still keeping pace with the survivor. Once you're around 70 to 80 stamina, that's when you want to end the ability. When being chased, run to Builderman's turrets. I don't know how this isn't obvious to some people, but I guess it just isn't, because people will ignore me when I'm playing Builderman. Or maybe I just smell bad? Guys, do I smell bad? Be honest,
Yes.
do I smell? This tip also goes for Taft's traps. When playing Guest 1337, if you punch immediately after successfully blocking an attack, it's known as a parry. When successfully parrying, your punch gets a boost to its wind-up speed and to its stun time. When playing Guest 1337, if the match is about to end, it can be worth it to use the charge just to get a little extra distance from the killer. But in any other scenario where you're being chased, don't do this because you get really bad slowness. And lastly, for our beginner tips, Taft's bombs barely do anything if you hit them before they explode. So if you see one, make sure to hit it before it explodes. We are now moving on to the more advanced tips. Now, these tips aren't crazy or anything, but they are things I've picked up on after playing 13 days on the game. But before we get into the more advanced tips, we need to cover the most important tip of all.
Make sure to comment down below your best Forsaken tip, and hit the like and smash that subscribe button. Do it now. Please speed on me.
Anyways, let's get started. If Cool Kid summons his minions, try to run away from the general area if he's chasing you, because if you linger in one area too long, there might not be an easy way of escape. When playing Veronica, place your sprays in extremely weird, awkward areas that stick through walls and are hidden. If a server happens to be dominantly Veronica's, consider using supports like Taft and Dussaker, because Elliot and Builderman's heal abilities are going to be way less effective. If you happen to find a medkit, but you're full health or at least very close to it, feel free to still grab it and bring it to someone who's way lower than you. This is probably one of the most kind and considerate things you could do in the entirety of Forsaken, and you'll be a hero. When playing Shedletsky, a good way to try and stun the killer is take a sharp turn and then swing your sword and turn around. You can also do something like this with 2-time called trick stabbing, but I'm not qualified to explain that. If you want to learn how to do the trick stab, there's plenty other YouTubers that have made videos on it. When Last Man Standing or Blood Hunt is active, the undetectable status effect does not work. So you can't use moves like Ghost Burger or clone yourself to hide from the killer. If you have a feeling that someone's about to try and stun you, you can use Raging Pace to completely negate their attempt. If you're being chased by a slasher who's using Raging Pace and they're close, be ready to try and dodge their slash and then run the opposite direction. Remember when playing against a John Doe that the traps not only slow you, but they actually speed up John. The reason I mention this is because I see 007s all the time using their clones to destroy traps. And I used to do this too. I thought it was so smart. And then I looked over at the poor Dussaker with 12 health running away from a John Doe with speed 2.
Hello!
So in most cases, it's really not smart to activate the trap, even if it's not actually you stepping in it. You can use some of the killer's moves to actually get a free block. If I'm not mistaken, the two easiest ones is Slasher's Gashing Wound and 1x1's Mass Infection. Now make sure you're approaching Mass Infection from the back so you're only getting hit by the melee part of the attack. When playing Killer, try and be aware of the cooldowns of each character's moves. Now, this is kind of a sweat ball play, but if you want to win, you want to win. A good example of this is Guest's Block. It has a very short cooldown of only 24 seconds. And many times I get caught off guard by how short it feels. When running from Sixer, the best way to escape him is looping because his hitbox is so fat. Now you don't want to loop something too big or something too small. I like to loop around this rock on this map and this table on this map. Just make sure to try and keep an eye out for Infernal Cry because that's the only way he could possibly catch up. If you're confident enough that you're not gonna ram into a wall, you can actually just trick off the same wall over and over again to gain charge for Veronica. I would still prioritize generators though because they run down the timer and give you way more charge. If you aren't trying to get the absolute maximum amount of HP as chance, I would honestly recommend just re-rolling your health with 1 stack. It may be slightly less effective, but it allows you to reroll your health more often and you get lower overall weakness. I can't tell you how many times I've spent just trying to get 3 stacks to get good health. I keep getting low health and then the killer runs up on me when I have weakness 15. On the contrary to this though, don't try and shoot the killer on 1 stack with your gun. If you are being shielded by a Dussaker, don't run towards him. It's like the ultimate sign of disrespect. Dussaker's Plasma Beam actually gives some overshield. There are some very niche scenarios where this can actually be better than using the Protective Shield. If someone's about to die to Gashing Wound, you can actually use the Plasma Beam to save their life. Just make sure you're zapping on the killer. Poison and Bleeding actually don't care about protection or the zap at all. So don't waste your zap or shield trying to save someone from poison damage. If someone is being chased and you're playing Elliot, try and throw the pizza in front of the chase instead of behind the chase so the survivor doesn't have to run back towards the killer to get the pizza. When Guest blocks, his hitbox actually gets really, really big. So if you ever got parried by a Guest and thought it was unfair, this is probably why. 1x1 and John Doe have a pretty long attack windup of 0.4 seconds. Now, it isn't super long, but it's long enough where if you're good, you can actually react and parry the killer instantly as Guest. Now, this is risky, and if you block late, you're gonna get hugely punished. When attacking survivors with John Doe's corrupt energy, try and shoot your spikes off to the side, and then redirect them to wherever you're actually aiming. This makes it way less predictable who you're actually aiming towards. If nobody steps on one of John Doe's traps, they actually disappear after 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So make sure to keep up with placing traps if they start disappearing. When using Nova as Noli, if you press the ability button again, it will actually blow up midair. Now another tip for Nova is that when hitting a wall with it, the hitbox is actually much larger. When trying to decipher if Noli is a clone or not, it's helpful to remember that the clones love to use Void Rush, but they'll never use Nova. Don't try and build anything if you're burning, poisoned, or bleeding, because it will interrupt you and break the structure. Now here's a quick guide to tell if a generator is fake when fighting against Noli. The most obvious tell is that the wires will have these little black strips on them. Now, if for some reason you don't check for this and just blindly do a generator, another tell is the $ will either be in front of the cash amount or it'll be a different currency altogether, and the XP number will be inaccurate. Usually in the puzzle a number will be missing, and the generators also make weird glitchy noises. And finally, the most obvious tell, you'll start getting tickled by a fake Noli.
What the signal?
When chasing a survivor, make sure to watch your back for the other survivors who might try and stun you, especially that sneaky little two-time. You can also use this to actually land cheap hits, which is hilarious.
Think fast,
Guest 1337's block actually negates all damage, so you can use this to block projectiles. But it sadly doesn't prevent status effects like poison from being applied. If you're chasing a Veronica and their antennas start to glow, that means that they're in a skate zone, so be ready for them to attempt to phase through you. You can actually use 007 and 7's clone to tank a plethora of different moves. Just make sure you send your clone towards the killer to tank for you. Now this one's a tip for the devs. Please just stop randomly dropping killers while I'm trying to work on a video. I thought I was safe for a little bit. I'm literally recording this clip as he's dropped. And my second tip for the devs, stop getting in so many controversies. I don't even really know the half of it, but I just want to play this game and enjoy it and not have to feel bad. And that's actually all the tips I have. I'm sure I missed a lot of advice and tips that I could have given out that I just didn't even think of. But I hope you at least learned one thing from this video. And I'm gonna ask one more time, if you enjoyed this video, make sure
To like
and
subscribe.
anyways, I hope I see y'all in the next one. Bye bye.